know you. Get out of my house right now. I'm gonna call the police.
I can't stand it when you clean up my stuff and throw things away. I need that stuff. It's not trash. All right, I'll throw away some of your trash. Yeah.
We may not all encounter events like these often, but they can and do happen in the elderly community. The majority of people over the age of 60 live in their own homes or apartments. Most live happy and interactive lives with many interests and activities. Unfortunately, some seniors suffer from serious social, emotional, or physical problems, especially if they live alone and don't have family or friends to look in on them.
Delivery, it's Tom. It's delivery, it's Tom.
Who are you? I don't know you. Get out of my house right now. I'm gonna call the police.
The symptoms of an elderly person in some kind of difficulty may not be so dramatic, but can be easily recognized. Noticing unread newspapers piling up on the lawn or steps, observing an elderly person wandering around seemingly confused, seeing a house with many lights on all night, or noticing a normally well-kept lawn and garden becoming overgrown and unattended. However, it's people like you in all kinds of jobs who come in contact with the elderly on a regular basis who can become gatekeepers. People who may notice changes in behavior, physical appearance, or mental condition. The Gatekeeper program is designed to identify an elderly person in some kind of difficulty who needs assistance to maintain their independence or health. Being a part of the Gatekeeper program does not mean you are actively involved with solving a problem, just identifying one. Many older adults have consumed alcoholic beverages in moderation for years. However, as their metabolism slows down, their ability to safely digest alcohol diminishes. Those who continue to use alcohol safely do so by self-regulating what they consume, reducing the amount they take in at one time to remain safe as they get older. But sometimes people don't realize that safe drinking in later life requires a change in habits.
I've noticed that George seems to be drinking a bit more lately.
Well, he did just lose his wife last year. I don't blame him for drinking more, poor guy. After all, it's his choice.
It may be his choice, but that doesn't mean there isn't a problem. Remember what happened to Mary, Alice?
You mean that lady who fell and broke her hip? She was so nice. I miss her.
I remember the same thing happened to her. She lost her husband and started drinking a little more in the evening. I didn't say anything because I thought it was just her own business, not a medical problem. Now I wish I had said something. Maybe I should say something to George.
Better yet, why don't we just give him one of those pamphlets they keep at the front desk?
You mean that guide to lower risk drinking?
Yeah, that's the one. I'm not about to try to tell George to stop, but maybe it would be healthier if you would slow it down a little.
Yes, we won't want to lose another resident, especially a man.
On the Gatekeeper program, Debbie and Marge recognize these are peculiar behaviors, since they are familiar with their customers. They call the Gatekeeper Referral Center, which in turn contacts the local Gatekeeper program, which will have a trained social worker reach out to that older adult.
Hi, is this the Gatekeepers? This is Debbie from the Hair Affair. I'm becoming a little concerned about one of my favorite clients. Maybe you can help her?
Yes. Of course. Yes, I can take that information. Can you give me their name and address?
Hello, Gatekeeper. I'm worried about my friend Joan. She used to be such a neat person, but over the past few years, she stopped throwing things away. Her apartment is filling up with stuff and beginning to smell. I don't visit her very often anymore because of it, but I'm worried about her. What should I do?
Who else can be gatekeepers? Clerks, mail carriers, UPS and FedEx drivers, fuel delivery people, repairmen, trash collectors, barbers and hairdressers, librarians. These are just a few examples. Your job may be one too.
For instance, if I go to a house and I notice the mail's been piling up for like 3-4 days, I notice something isn't right. Everything is closed off and there's no change of address, no one's saying we're going to be gone. We contact the police or the postal inspector, and then they try to see if the woman is in there. They try to see if she's alive.
Yeah, we had a customer who gets an order on a weekly basis. And 1 week she calls 3 times within 5 days, and 2 of the orders were all the same things.
Being a gatekeeper does not require any particular professional skills. It's mostly a matter of watchfulness and common sense, listening and observing, being aware of changes in appearance, attitude, or physical conditions, having a calm voice and reassuring manner to put the older person at ease to minimize the difficulty they may be having. The Gatekeeper program is not a substitute for a 911 call. If an elderly person is in a life-threatening situation or having a problem that cannot be resolved by service agencies immediately, a 911 call should be made.
Gatekeeper program, this is Anne. How may I help you?
My name is Elizabeth, and I am calling because I am very worried about one of my friends. Helen has been a friend of mine for years, but lately I'm worried because she seems to be getting very forgetful, and I don't know what to do for her.
Okay, yes, thank you for your concern. Your information absolutely will remain confidential, and someone will follow up with your friend just as soon as possible.
Gatekeepers are not a substitute for social workers or counselors, but rather an avenue to providing those services to the elderly. A call to the Gatekeeper program may result in a referral to a program such as Meals on Wheels, the Connecticut Home Care Program for the Elderly, the Connecticut Respite Program, or various local social services or the municipal agent. The gatekeeper in the community will make a confidential call to their local Gatekeeper program. The person who answers the phone is trained to take the essential information about the person being referred. This information is then used by the Gatekeeper program to contact the person being referred with an offer to make a friendly visit and acquaint the individual with services which may be available to them to help them remain safely in their own homes.
Hello, Ms. Smith. This is Dwight Norwood. I'm calling from the Gatekeeper program. Well, it's a program designed to try to help older adults remain safely in their home. It's sponsored by the state of Connecticut. It's free, it's confidential, and what we try to do is make sure you're receiving all the resources that you're entitled to so you can stay safely in your own home. Well, I'm afraid somebody did refer you, but I can't tell you who that is because it's a confidential referral. But it was somebody who cared enough about you to make that phone call. So I was hoping that we might be able to get together and discuss your living situation and see if there are any services you're not receiving that you're entitled to. Well, how about next Wednesday? Would that be okay? All right, next Wednesday at, say, 10 o'clock? Good. I'll see you then, 10 o'clock on behalf of the Gatekeeper program.
Judge Marino, most elderly people want to remain in their own homes, even if their health isn't the best. Some are worried that the state might try to put them in a nursing home, whether they want to go or not. How much should they worry?
Well, they shouldn't worry because we have many safeguards that are in place. The only person that can actually have someone move from their principal residence is a conservator. And the conservator has to be appointed by the court after a hearing with medical evidence. A person's represented by an attorney. And then once that person is appointed, they cannot change the residence of the conserved person without prior probate court approval, which only occurs after a hearing. Once again, they do have an attorney representing their interests here. And then I have to find that this is a least restrictive means of really helping this person to transfer them out of their residence. I've got to look at whether services have been provided to the person's home. And only after I make all those necessary findings would a change of residence be approved. So the days are long gone where a conservator can simply change someone and put them into a long-term care facility without the probate court getting involved. And I think that's a good change. It took effect October 1st of 2007.
So if I make a referral to the Gatekeeper program about my friend who I think is suffering from dementia or some other physical disability, I don't have to worry that they'll try to put her in a nursing home.
No, I wouldn't worry about that at all. I think that's a good first step, almost like a well-being check to make sure that the people are not, failing, that they're taking care of themselves. That could start the process, certainly, of perhaps having a conservator appointed if the person reaches that level. But it's many steps before you get there. So that initial call, just to have someone look in on a family friend or family member, should no one should be discouraged from doing that, because I think it's a very valuable resource that we could give to people.
The Gatekeeper program strives to not be an invasion of privacy or force the elderly to accept help or services. Our goal is to inform the elderly of their options. I really want to stress that the gatekeepers are not a substitute for calling 911. In a dire emergency, the 911 operator will immediately call the police, the fire department, or the paramedics. As a gatekeeper, you should be aware of the difference between emergencies and the need for intervention services, so the appropriate call will be made. The Gatekeepers program is designed to identify high-risk elderly, especially those living alone and in need of special assistance to maintain their independence and quality of life. Early identification helps provide early intervention before the health and well-being of an elderly person becomes a critical problem. And it's not just people in business or service. Anyone can be a gatekeeper. Neighbors of elderly people are encouraged to become involved. Just simply being aware of any change in an elderly person's lifestyle or behavior at home or in the neighborhood. Your role is essential. You are the eyes and ears. Without your help, we would not be able to assist the elderly in maintaining the independence they treasure.